Hey everybody, welcome back to reading. We have started our story elements and we actually got all the way through conflict, and we're going to go back and talk a little bit more about characters. So we've talked about major characters and minor characters. Now we're going to talk specifically about character traits and theories and how we can find out more about characters. Now I'm going to give you guys a bit of a heads up. I recorded this video and then found that the audio had not recorded it, so I've actually written everything down. So you're going to probably want to definitely pause throughout this video in order to keep up with me. I decided I did not want to go back and record and rewrite everything that I already wrote. So on your table of contents, go ahead and write down character traits and theories. This will be on pages 27 and 28. All right, so over here, setting conflicts. All right, here we go. So for our character traits, we have a bunch of different character traits. Now you can write down the ones that I have, or in your Schoology, you're going to actually have a PDF file that you can print off, and there's going to be 4 that print off because there's no way I can break it into anything smaller or just a one section. But when you break off that one, or you cut out that one section, you can just glue that in here. If you do not have access to a printer and you cannot print it off, then right now you would probably want to go ahead and make sure that you print or write in all of these lovely character traits that we have written down here. Now these character traits are only a handful of character traits. So these are not like the end all be all. This is it. This is the only way a character can be. There's a lot of other ways to describe characters. These are just some ideas for you to use. So some of the ways we've talked about describing characters is adventurous. So like your superheroes would be adventurous. Artistic. Mrs. Davidson would be a great artistic person to talk about. She's very into the making things pretty, and it's all nice and neat, and it's color coded, and I am not an artistic person at all. You can also have an athletic person. Athletic is somebody who likes to run around and do sports, and maybe is capable of doing lots of different kinds of sports. You can talk about somebody being beautiful or bossy. My sister usually calls me bossy. I am bossy only because I am very caring and I care about her. You could say somebody is dangerous. And if someone is dangerous, it's because maybe you're talking about the bad guy or the villain in the story, and they're very dangerous and they could cause harm or they could hurt somebody. You can also have someone who is curious, energetic, entertaining, somebody who keeps you entertained in your eyes and your attention, generous, grumpy, happy. Grumpy would be like one of your 7 dwarves from Snow White. Happy would also be one of those 7 dwarves. Humorous, making you smile. Usually humorous and entertaining will be similar. You might have somebody who's inventive. They come up with some very interesting or inventive ways to solve problems. You could have somebody who's lazy or mean if it's a negative way to talk about them. Mischievous. I am going to be mischievous. I'm going to think up maybe a practical joker or somebody who likes to tease somebody else. We could also say somebody is nervous. Perhaps they're getting ready to do a performance and they're super nervous about this performance and they're, oh my goodness, I have butterflies in my stomach, kind of nervous. You could have somebody who's nosy or protective of others, someone who's very proud of who they are and where they're from. Quiet and shy, someone who's smart or successful. I'd love to have someone called me trustworthy. I think that would be a very interesting character trait to have. Unselfish, wild, and wise. Smart and wise are very, very similar, so you might use those both to describe one person. Okay, so if you have not, or if you are writing these down, you're going to want to pause here and make sure that you write all of these down. If you already have them written down, go ahead and flip your paper over to the next side. We're going to talk about character theories. So go ahead and write that at the we're going to let that focus again. We're going to write that at the very top of your page. And a theory is an educated guess. It is a thought that you have some evidence for it, but you're not 100%. There's not a firm absolutely proven evidence for it. Okay? So once you've written down character theories and your theory with your educated guess, you're going to take your paper and turn it sideways. And what I want you to do now is you're going to follow this red line and you're going to draw the line right here. Actually, how about I use a highlighter? That might help. So you're going to draw this line right here and you're going to draw it down. And there's a very faint, you can probably see it right about here. There's a very faint red line on the other side that you're going to stop at. And then I'm going to start right here and draw that straight line down. And then I connect them on the bottom following that straight line. Once you've done that, you're going to take right about halfway through and you're going to draw a line straight down there. And then from there, you're going to draw another line halfway through. So now you can see I have 4 large purple circles, purple rectangles. And then up here, we're going to draw another parallel line. And that way we leave enough space to write text evidence and how it supports my theory. So I just want you guys to write text evidence and how it supports my theory. And I'm actually going to cover these up until I'm ready for you to write them in your notebook. Ha ha ha, Miss Ruggy's being mischievous. She is covering your words before you can write them. So hopefully you have text evidence and how it supports my theory. And then I'm going to use a theory. So I'm going to actually talk about our book, Among the Hidden, because it's one that we have, some of you have already finished it, some of you are halfway through, some of you almost done, some of you have just started. But this theory is not going to spoil anything, so it's going to give you a little bit, but it's not going to be anything major. My theory about our main character, Luke, is that Luke is very afraid of the population police. And as soon as it thinks that it's going to, okay, there we go. So here is what I did. The first thing I need to do is I need to go through and I need to find my text evidence. What is something that I read in the book that makes me think Luke could probably be afraid of the population police? Well, when at the very beginning of the book, we read that he put his right foot out tentatively, not quite daring to put his full weight on it. The floor squeaked. Nothing happened, but he retreated anyway. And you might notice I have 1, 2, 3, 4 dots right here. That's because I didn't want to write the floor squeaked because I was running out of room. So I knew that the floor squeaked. So I put little dots to say that I missed some writing, but I remember what was there. Nothing happened, but he retreated anyway. He retreated. That means he went back into hiding. So how this supports my theory. The floor squeaked and scared Luke. If you've ever stepped on a squeaky floor, you can't hear the squeaky floor outside. But it scared Luke so much that he hid back upstairs because he was so afraid somebody outside the house might have heard the floor squeaking just a little bit. So go ahead and write these down if you have not done so already. If you need to pause the video, now's the time to do so. The other piece of text evidence that I have is that he thought about how terrifying it was running back and forth between gens. This is a little bit of a spoiler maybe. So Jen is his new friend and her house is pretty close to his. And right here, this word terrifying is the same as afraid. So they're synonyms. They mean the same thing. He's scared, which helps support my theory because it scared Luke. It terrified him to be out in the open. It terrified him because he thought maybe somebody could see him. So these two pieces of text evidence help support my theory that Luke is afraid of the population police, that he's afraid somebody's going to find him and something bad would happen to him or his parents or even his brothers. If you need to pause the video in order to finish writing down, now would be a good time to do so. Otherwise, I will see you at our next reading lesson.